My full name's Brianna, but people have problems pronouncing it, so Bree works too. I work in sales and marketing and technically business development for kind of a niche industry. It's a company called Evidence in Motion, and what they did is they developed a hybrid doctor of physical therapy and also a hybrid occupational therapy doctorate program. I work with Hawaii Pacific right now, and we are anticipating students from Guam, Fiji, New Zealand, Costa Rica, things like that. So I actually lived all 4 years on campus. So I started off in Cougar Village 1 as a freshman and sophomore. And then as junior, I was one of the first groups to actually move into the new Cougar Place. And then as a senior, I lived in Calhoun Law. I was really adamant about kind of wanting that quintessential college experience. I wanted to move on to this. I wanted to be able to, look at Greek life and look at different student organizations and just kind of see what fit. When I first moved into Cougar Village as a freshman, kind of got to experience different people that weren't necessarily in my major or in the honors college with me. So that was really fun. Definitely gaining exposure to activities that I wouldn't have probably considered beforehand. And then I joined the Resident Halls Association as well and was kind of introduced and kind of moved up the ranks. So I first served as secretary and treasurer of RH, and then by the end of my tenure, I was a vice president. That really gave me exposure not only to different student groups, but also to different faculty and staff. Served on the Rec and Wellness Board as well. I was actually on that committee that approved for the new natatorium. I would say some of my greatest memories are definitely going to Dr. Bott's chemistry class. He is just kind of notorious on campus for school spirit, the Cougar trading cards. I was actually lucky enough to collect all of those trading cards one year and won one of the scholarships. So that was just kind of a really cool experience to see him as a student and professor role outside of that, as well as seeing him as a champion and kind of advocate for school spirit in the University of Houston in general. So that was definitely an enlightening experience. If you've ever met Dr. Bott, he is just kind of like off the cuff person. I mean, his class motto is like, don't be a twat, come to Dr. Bott. I was kind of in the years in terms of athletics where I was able to go to the old Robb Stadium for football and then see the new ECU Stadium, as well as the old Hawkines and then the Fertitta Center. So a lot of changes athletically were done in my tenure. It was just one of those collections of years as a sports fan. And I'm a native Houstonian, so I heart Houston fan, no matter how hard or painful it might be some years. And so just seeing all of those changes and really watching the school grow and kind of support that facet of the university and finally kind of, in my opinion, get the recognition that we deserved was awesome. I feel like any sort of campus involvement, like I said, when I first came there, I was really just interested in the culture and seeing things that I had never seen before or been exposed to before. So anything that you can find to embrace as a collective group, I would highly encourage any student that's interested in doing so to go out and try it. Any sort of group work, and we've all been in group projects for classes, but any sort of actual collaborative group work where you know that everybody in the group wants to be there, whether it's Greek life, whether it be student government, housing associations, anything you can think of. If people are voluntarily there, they have a different kind of compassion and commitment to whatever sort of project or activity they're working on. And so I'd highly encourage people to get out there and explore that, because it'll teach you about communication styles, it'll teach you about different leadership styles and how you interact in a group. The workplace is competitive, just like getting into colleges, but at the same time, you can always help other people that are around you. It's just one of those things that being on campus and being able to pop over to whoever you wanted to go see, whether it was in the towers or in the quad, be like, hey, we're gonna go to the towers today. Like, let's go see everybody we know and just like ride the elevators up and down. That was probably the thing that I enjoyed the most. And also too, like, because you lived on campus, you could easily just pop over to wherever you wanted. Don't tell my RAs that I was probably one of those people that was like running down the halls giggling with her friends, especially at Calhoun Loft after going to Calhoun Rooftop. A group of friends from the rec center that I still keep in touch with were called the Gringos, because we absolutely love Gringos green sauce, and that's where we would go eat after our shifts all the time when we worked the day shift. And so that's 4 of us that all still talk to each other. And then my sophomore year roommate, who also was an RA and kind of had her journey in college through the kind of housing and residence department. I went to her wedding. I went to her going away party. She was going to graduate school. We are born one day apart and 1 year apart, so we kind of just bonded immediately when we met each other. And in Cougar Village, we didn't technically share the same like room. We were technically suite mates, so we would just always kind of hang out together, and have kept in touch ever since. We're both, have been graduated for 5+ years and still keep in touch. There were many times with both of those friend groups that we were over at like Dots or House of Pies, just like eating at midnight, drinking milkshakes, like smack talking about nothing, things like that. So definitely people that kind of just join you in your walk of life and never really let you go.